Hello and welcome to the mattgrist.com weekly blog. I am the Matt, the purveyor of the gristiness, and this week I am talking about how we change our relationship with our insecurities. This is something that, I think all of us when we were young, developing as teenagers, that environment can be very judgmental. It can be pretty harsh. And we start to learn to hide things that make us different. And also, not just from the kids around us, but from our teachers. We learn to kind of do what's going to make them happy rather than what makes us happy. There's a bit of a cocktail there of inauthenticity, is that the word? Inauthentic action. And we learn from our environment, from our peers, from that social condition, that social situation. Teachers don't want you messing around. They don't want you talking. They don't want you daydreaming. They don't want you joking. They don't want you, they want you to do what they like. And the world just isn't that way. We're all meant to be different, and there's so much diversity here, and yet we're expected to fall into such a narrow funnel of beliefs and behaviors. And I think what happens for a lot of human beings, the ones that get cast to the side, is there's a huge schism. I hope that's the right word. Feels like the right word. There's this break between who they really are and who they've been expected to be. And especially living in a city like Toronto, I see so much mental unwellness walking through the streets, hearing people yelling at the top of their voices about nothing in particular, but a lot of anger in their voice, and it makes me see that comes from not being able to bridge this gap between the weirdness of who many of us are. Many of us are different and weird and strange, and we have different ways of expressing things and different expectations on life, and that has definitely been true of myself, and I've struggled a lot in my life to bring those two things together. Here's the world and what's expected, and that changes from place to place as well, from culture to culture. So it's a very fleeting thing. It changes over time. It changes over geography. It changes from situation to situation, what's expected of us, who we are told to be. And then we also make our own story in our minds about who we're supposed to be. And sometimes we think that we know what's going on in the situation, and it's totally different than what actually is. We make these assumptions about our relationships and about others, and it can be very difficult to manage. And if you're listening to this, I hope that you connect to that, because I believe that there's an answer to this dichotomy of our existence. And I think that it comes down to living by our own truth. And if you know that you're not living in your own truth, when I'm not in my own truth, it's palpable. Like, I feel it so strongly, and I don't want to be me. I don't want to be there. And one of the things that I do to manage that are meditation, journaling, exercise. Those are the main things that I do. And reading. That's been another big one in my life. But I think that until we start to really do some internal work, especially if you're, actually at any point in our lives that you have awareness that you're not feeling good about how your life is going and who you're being. Once you have that awareness, then it's necessary to start to process what's going on within you And for me, a lot of that comes down to addressing my insecurities. I think so. Our fears and our insecurities, so often we avoid them. We don't talk about them. Man, if you talk about them, that's not socially acceptable. You know, people think that you're weak if you share. I know that because when I hear people talking like that, one of my first instinct is, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. And then I have to stop myself and go, no, wait a second. This is actually important. And I want to support that in other people because I think that that's where real interaction happens and real connection happens. You know, do you have any of those relationships where you just never feel like you're actually being honestly yourself? You're just showing the positive side and you're trying to be really, really nice. And then at the same time, your kindness is so fragile. The way that you take things that other people say, you over interpret, you take them too personally. I'm just speaking completely about myself and my own experience and seeing the fragility of my friendships sometimes. How people have done things and said things that I felt were completely wrong. And then rather than deal with them, with that individual, just saying, I'm done with this relationship. They don't deserve my friendship, whatever. And so, you know, I think that if we really care about people, we won't be so apt to leave them in the past. And that's something that I need to work on. And so the essence of what we're going to do today, we're going to do a meditation, but we're going to incorporate this idea. So what we're doing in mindfulness is we're taking what's happening in the mind and we're making peace with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that same process to address our insecurities. Can we change our relationship with our securities by not needing to push them away like we try to do with our thoughts? Push the thoughts away. That's really hard because guess what? New thought shows up. New thought. And it's the same thing with insecurities. You try to avoid that insecurity, it just comes back, or another one comes back, another fear, another trigger from past trauma shows up, you know. And so rather than brushing those things aside, let's just be with them. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a challenge. I hope you're up for it. I think that if you give this a try, you're going to find something really interesting in this. And it's something that I've been discovering through my 100-day of focus challenge, where I poured an ice bucket over my head for 100 days straight outside in the Canadian cold winter. And what I started learning was that I can be in the midst of pain and not focus on it, and it won't control me. That's been such a powerful lesson, and I'm starting to apply it to all these other elements of my life. So let's give it a try. I think we've tried this in previous guided meditations. Whatever, you can't overdo this. So let's do about 7 minutes. We'll try to get it done in that time, all right? So find a nice, comfortable position, getting your spine straight and feeling relaxed. And then you can close your eyes and start to take some deep breaths. Now, this part of the meditation process is really important. Because if you don't get your body relaxed, it's going to be difficult to be present for the practice of the process that we're going through. So as you're breathing, just allow yourself to become more present. Seeing if you can let go of the thought that you need to be somewhere else, the thought that you need to be doing something else, or any thoughts that are other than just allowing the present moment to happen. You don't have to try too hard at this. Just make a conscious effort toward it, allowing whatever does happen to happen. If there's lots of thoughts, that's okay. Just consciously make the effort to be more fully present. Seeing if you can let go of any tension that you're holding in the body, any tension in the face. And if you're having difficulty finding that place of relaxation, just continue breathing. You can even pause the video, continue with your breathing until you feel very at ease and very present, and then pick it back up. So now we're going to find a situation from our past, maybe something that stands out in our mind. It could be from a relationship or from a mistake that we made, or maybe it's an insecurity that we have that we've been hiding, something that we don't want to relive. Now you've got to use your discernment here as to what you choose. Don't go with anything that's so intense you won't be able to do this, because that would make this pointless. So find something that's just mildly uncomfortable for now. What we're going to do is we're going to see ourselves in that situation again, but this time we're not going to let ourselves hide from it. And even if we feel some discomfort, we're going to see if we can be okay with that. And actually, we're going to see if we can go beyond that discomfort. Becoming an observer of ourselves in that situation and allowing ourselves to have that insecurity, to have that fear, to have made that mistake. And seeing if we can just allow. Maybe we can go into that experience with more intensity, more focus. It may help to step back and see yourself from a third person perspective rather than through your own eyes. It can help you to take some of the emotion out of it. And you can change to other subjects if you wish. This is really powerful to explore our past, but this time as a different person. So you can open your eyes again. That was just a short practice there. This ability to go back into those experiences, see them from a new perspective, not engage with the same emotions that you once did, it's powerful, because we're starting to see it from a more truthful lens. You know, they say there's three versions of a story. There's their version, your version, and then the version that really happened. And this is really tapping into that third version, being able to witness, being less judgmental, and we can actually start to change our relationship with the past, with ourselves, through this. I mean, if your life's been perfect, then it's pointless. But if you have been through some tough times, if you've had some relationships that fell apart, then you can use this to look at them and challenge yourself to ask if that was necessary, or is that who you want to be again in the future, or would you like to be someone different? Maybe you don't go back and fix anything from the past, but you get more clear about who you're going to be going forward. This stuff sometimes seems like it's small, but it's big, and I've been noticing how it's affecting and changing my relationships and my willingness to go into discomfort in a totally different way than I would have in the past. So thanks for coming by today. We'll see you again soon.